If you're a man over 60, you've probably noticed that your body and even your mind aren't what they used to be. Maybe your energy feels lower. Maybe your drive has changed. But what if I told you there's one private habit that most men never question, and it's quietly shaping their prostate, their emotions, and even their relationships? In this 3-part episode, we're going to explore what really happens when older men stop masturbating. Not from judgment. Not from shame. But from curiosity. From truth. From science. Whether you're here to learn, to heal, or just to understand yourself more deeply, you're in the right place. This isn't just about sex. It's about who you become when you stop running, and start reclaiming your power. Red Square Part 1, What happens to the aging male body without masturbation? Studio microphone. Let's be honest. You've heard all kinds of claims from "you'll go crazy if you don't release" to "abstinence gives you superpowers." But what really happens when a man over 60 stops masturbating? Not the myths. Not the marketing. The truth. Aging isn't easy. As men cross into their 60s and 70s, their bodies change, hormones decline, energy fluctuates, and sex drive may either fade or suddenly surge in unpredictable ways. In the middle of this shift, a quiet but deeply personal question often arises. Do I still need to masturbate? And if I stop, what exactly will happen to me? Contrary to popular belief, the answer isn't black or white. This isn't a good versus bad debate. It's about understanding the complex impact of sexual inactivity on the prostate, hormones, nervous system, and emotions in aging men. Today, we begin with the first 3 changes that can occur in the physical body of men over 60 when they stop masturbating entirely. What we uncover may surprise you. 1. Reduced prostate drainage. Is that a problem? One of the most common concerns for older men is this. If I don't ejaculate regularly, won't my prostate get swollen or congested? It's a reasonable worry. After all, ejaculation helps clear fluid from the prostate, and some research suggests that frequent release in midlife may reduce the long-term risk of prostate cancer. But here's the nuance. After age 60, the body's metabolic and hormonal needs shift. Daily or even weekly ejaculation may no longer be necessary to maintain prostate health. In fact, infrequent ejaculation does not directly cause prostate enlargement, BPH. However, chronic sitting, lack of exercise, and pelvic tension do worsen prostate symptoms. Gentle release once or twice per week, or even less, may be ideal for men with sensitive prostates or ongoing urinary symptoms. The takeaway? Stopping masturbation won't destroy your prostate, but it does require other supportive habits to maintain gland health. 2 changes in urinary function. The role of pelvic tension. Some men over 60 who stop masturbating report increased nighttime urination, nocturia, slower stream, or discomfort in the pelvic area. At first glance, it's easy to blame abstinence. But the truth is more subtle. When men abstain, especially if they've relied on masturbation for relaxation, they may unconsciously clench their pelvic floor muscles more often. This chronic tension, known as CPPS, chronic pelvic pain syndrome, can mimic or worsen prostate symptoms even without infection or enlargement. Also, without occasional release, seminal fluid may accumulate temporarily, which can create a sense of pressure in the perineal area. However, the body is smart, and over time, it reabsorbs excess fluid. To prevent these discomforts, avoid prolonged sitting. Do pelvic relaxation exercises, not just Kegels. Take short walks every day to improve circulation. So no, abstaining won't make you pee every 20 minutes. But how you manage your pelvis and nervous system matters far more than whether you ejaculate. 3. Stable versus fluctuating testosterone levels. Here's a myth that refuses to die. If you don't masturbate, your testosterone will build up and you'll become stronger and more masculine. The reality is complicated. Testosterone levels in older men don't respond to abstinence the same way as in younger men. After age 60, daily release typically has minimal impact on testosterone levels. Some studies show short-term abstinence, 7+ days, may slightly boost testosterone but only temporarily. Long-term abstinence? It tends to stabilize hormone levels rather than increase them. The key lies in this. If masturbation has become compulsive or tied to screen-based stimulation, i.e., pornography, it can cause unnatural spikes and crashes in dopamine and testosterone sensitivity. In contrast, reducing masturbation, especially when done mindfully, may lead to improved energy regulation, more stable moods, fewer highs and lows in libido. Many older men describe a surprising sense of mental calm and emotional evenness after quitting or reducing sexual release. It's not about superpowers, it's about neurological reset. Brain, a word on the brain, body connection. When you stop masturbating, you're not just affecting the body, you're rewiring the brain. The limbic system, reward centers, and even memory pathways may shift in the absence of sexual stimulus. This doesn't happen overnight. You may feel restless, bored, irritable, or even lonely at first. But given time, many men find themselves sleeping better, thinking more clearly, becoming more emotionally available. Again, these benefits aren't universal, but they're reported often enough to merit attention, especially in a generation of men who were never told they could channel sexual energy, not just release it. Compass closing this chapter. So, if you're a man in your 60s or beyond and considering a break, temporary or permanent, from masturbation, know this. You are not damaging your body. Your prostate will not explode. You are not less of a man. In fact, this might be the beginning of a new relationship with your body, one built on choice rather than habit. Coming up in part 2, we explore what happens emotionally and psychologically when you stop. From mood shifts to mental clarity to the challenge of facing old wounds, we go deep into the emotional rewiring of male abstinence in old age. Stay tuned. This journey is just beginning. Yellow Square Part 2, the emotional and psychological effects of not masturbating after 60. Studio microphone. When an older man stops masturbating, the body may change, but what happens to the mind and heart is just as important, and often even more dramatic. For most men over 60, sexuality isn't just a physical act. It's wrapped up in identity, routine, memory, and even a sense of control in an aging world. So when you stop masturbating, whether for health reasons, spiritual growth, or personal choice, you don't just remove a behavior. You open a door. And what walks through that door can be discomfort, or freedom. Let's talk about the psychological impact of not masturbating in older age. What happens to your thoughts, your emotions, your sense of self? And more importantly, how do you navigate this inner landscape with strength and clarity? 1. The first few days, the withdrawal phase. Even if you're not addicted, stopping a long-standing habit, especially one tied to dopamine, has real consequences. In the first 3 to 7 days, many men experience increased irritability, brain fog or restlessness, sleep disruption, mild anxiety or cravings for stimulation. Why? Because masturbation often acts as a coping mechanism, a quick way to reduce tension, escape boredom, or manage loneliness. When it's removed, the underlying emotions surface. And if you're not prepared, it can feel overwhelming. But here's the truth. These feelings aren't signs you're failing, they're proof your brain is recalibrating. Like giving up sugar or caffeine, the discomfort fades. What comes next is often deeper and more revealing. 2. Clarity returns, mental space expands. As the brain resets, something remarkable can happen. Thoughts become more organized. Attention span improves. Creativity reawakens. Emotional range expands. Why? Because sexual release, especially habitual, can dull the mind. It offers temporary relief but often suppresses your deeper thoughts and feelings. Without the release, your mind has more room to process regret or joy from past relationships, unfinished creative projects, spiritual insights, personal patterns of avoidance. This mental clarity doesn't happen overnight. But many older men describe a sense of inner sharpness returning around week 2 or 3 of abstinence, a calm focus they hadn't felt in decades. 3. Mood shifts, emotional stability or emotional flood. Let's be honest, emotional regulation can be harder in older age. Testosterone is lower, life is quieter, friends may have passed on, and loneliness can creep in. For some men, masturbation becomes a kind of emotional escape hatch, a brief window where the world feels okay. So what happens emotionally when that escape disappears? There are two typical responses. A. Emotional stability. Some men report feeling calmer, less reactive, and more emotionally balanced after abstaining for a few weeks. Their highs and lows even out. Why? Because constant dopamine cycling from sexual stimulation keeps the brain on a roller coaster. Slowing down gives the nervous system a chance to recalibrate. Your heart rate stabilizes. Sleep improves. You become less reactive to traffic, bad news, or family stress. B. Emotional flooding. Others, especially those who used sexual release to numb pain, may find that deep, unresolved feelings rise to the surface. Sadness, anger, longing, grief. This isn't a failure. It's an invitation. One that says, you're strong enough now to feel what you once had to run from. This is where personal growth truly begins. For rediscovering desire, not lust, but life. When masturbation is paused, sexual energy doesn't vanish. It transforms. In many spiritual and psychological traditions, it's believed that sexual energy is actually life force energy. And when not dissipated, it can fuel creative work, inspire connection, drive purpose, deepen self-awareness. Older men often rediscover a renewed interest in hobbies, music, nature, or relationships when they stop habitual sexual release. Their desire becomes more expansive, no longer limited to physical gratification, but extended to the joy of living. This isn't magical thinking. It's neuroscience. Dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, these chemicals shift when your sexual behavior changes. And when you direct them into healthy outlets, your experience of life can become richer. 5. Facing the mirror. Who am I without this habit? Perhaps the most profound question a man faces after stopping masturbation is this. Who am I when I'm not numbing, escaping, or chasing momentary pleasure? For some, the answer is terrifying. For others, liberating. If masturbation was linked to self-worth, loneliness, past trauma, or shame, stopping forces you to confront those patterns. And yes, it can hurt. But in that hurt lies healing. This is your chance to reconnect with old friends. Forgive yourself for past mistakes. Cultivate peace with aging. Embrace vulnerability without fear. Stopping masturbation isn't about being better or purer. It's about reclaiming your energy, rewriting your narrative, and living deliberately. Direct hit final thought. Reclaiming your inner space. Not masturbating after 60 is not a punishment. It's a choice. A personal experiment. A journey back to self-awareness, discipline, and emotional truth. You may discover that you feel more in control of your day. That your mind is clearer than it's been in years. That emotional storms pass without needing to escape. Or you may realize that you need new rituals to replace old ones. That talking with a friend, walking in nature, or journaling gives you more joy than expected. That your sexual identity evolves, it doesn't disappear. Soon arrow coming in part 3. In the final section, we'll explore the social, relational, and even spiritual shifts that can unfold when men stop masturbating in later life. What happens to your relationships? Can you connect more deeply with others? Does spiritual awareness increase? How do you avoid isolation or repression? Stay tuned, the deepest discoveries are just ahead. Green Square Part 3, How Stopping Masturbation After 60 Can Deepen Relationships, Spiritual Growth, and Purpose. Studio microphone. In this final chapter, we explore the deeper layers, how abstaining from masturbation later in life can reshape not just your body or mind, but your connection to others, to meaning, and even to your sense of soul. For older men, aging often feels like subtraction of strength, speed, status, or sexual drive. But what if giving up masturbation isn't a loss, but a gateway? What if it opens doors to clarity, connection, and something deeper than performance presence? Let's unpack the relational, social, and spiritual impacts of abstaining from masturbation after the age of 60. This is about more than just behavior, it's about who you become. 1. Improved emotional availability in relationships. When men stop relying on masturbation as their primary emotional release, something shifts in how they show up for others. Many men in long-term relationships or marriages find that they listen more attentively, express affection more naturally, are more patient during conflict, feel more emotionally open to intimacy, not just sex. Why? Because masturbation can act as an emotional shortcut. It's a quick way to self-soothe without reaching out to others. But when that shortcut is gone, you may find yourself more present, more attuned, and surprisingly more compassionate. This can heal emotional distance in a marriage. It can deepen father-child relationships. It can even lead to more fulfilling platonic friendships with both men and women. And for single men, it opens the space to date with intention, not just out of loneliness. To freedom from shame, secrecy, or social isolation. Let's address the elephant in the room. Many older men struggle with private sexual habits that feel disconnected from the rest of their life. They may watch adult content in isolation, feel guilt afterward, or avoid real-world connection because of it. They may fear being judged, or worse, misunderstood by those they love. When masturbation, especially if tied to pornography, is removed or reduced, many men report a new sense of freedom. Not just from the act, but from guilt, shame, hiding, the need to explain or justify. This doesn't mean becoming celibate or repressed. It means being congruent. Your inner life matches your outer behavior. That's not just healthy, it's liberating. 3. Rediscovering energy and direction. It's common for men in retirement or semi-retirement to feel adrift, unsure of their purpose. Sexual release can provide a temporary sense of aliveness, but it rarely leads to long-term satisfaction. When that energy is withheld and redirected, many men experience a creative resurgence. They begin to take on new projects, mentor younger men, reconnect with old passions, volunteer or serve in ways they never considered. This isn't mystical, it's biological. Sexual energy is creative energy. When conserved and redirected, it has power far beyond the bedroom. One man described it this way: "After I stopped relying on masturbation, I realized how much energy I was leaking. Within a month, I picked up painting again, called my estranged brother, and started walking 5 miles a day. I didn't even plan it, it just happened." 4. Spiritual growth and inner peace. For centuries, spiritual traditions from Buddhism to Christianity to yogic paths have taught that mastering sexual energy is key to self-realization. This doesn't mean suppressing it. It means integrating it. Older men who step away from frequent masturbation often report a stronger sense of spiritual connection, more frequent moments of gratitude, a sense of inner peace that feels earned, not escaped, a clearer conscience. They become more reflective, less reactive, more connected to the timeless part of themselves that isn't measured by libido or performance. Abstinence, when chosen freely and not from fear, becomes a form of discipline, and discipline becomes freedom. 5. Connection over performance. One of the greatest gifts of aging is this: you no longer have to prove anything. Not to society. Not to a partner. Not even to yourself. When masturbation fades from center stage, and when sexual performance anxiety is released, many men realize they crave connection more than climax. They want to be seen, be held, be respected, be emotionally safe. And they want to offer that to others, too. Whether in romantic love, friendship, family, or faith, the absence of masturbation can create space for true connection, because it removes the distractions and compulsions that once filled the silence. 6. Creating a new legacy. Let's talk about legacy. Most men spend their lives working, earning, building. But after 60, the focus shifts from accumulation to integration, from asking "what can I get?" to "what can I give?" Masturbation, when it becomes automatic or excessive, can stall this transition. It keeps energy stuck in self-pleasure rather than outward purpose. When that habit is released, something powerful happens. Your words carry more weight. Your presence deepens. You begin to think generationally. You ask, "How can I leave something better behind?" Your wisdom becomes more accessible to your children, your peers, your community. And perhaps most importantly, to yourself. 7. Balance over extremes. Let's be clear, this isn't about moralizing. There's no one-size-fits-all prescription here. Some men thrive in full abstinence. Others choose moderation. The point is not to label masturbation as good or bad, but to ask, am I using this habit to avoid life or to enhance it? That question changes everything. When you choose awareness over autopilot, when you place purpose above impulse, and when you allow aging to bring depth rather than decline, you step into your final chapters not as a man in retreat but as a man in ascent. Compass. Final word, this is your time. You've earned the right to evolve. To question old habits. To release what no longer serves you. To move toward peace, presence, and power that doesn't come from youth, but from wisdom. Stopping masturbation after 60 isn't about loss. It's about liberation from compulsion, from shame, from distraction. And what takes its place? Clarity. Energy. Relationship. Legacy. Spiritual depth. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to follow anyone's rules. Just begin with honesty, courage, and curiosity. This is your life. It's still unfolding. And the best may still be ahead.